Well, hello, everybody. My name is Barbara Talisman. Welcome to the Talisman Travel Tribe. And today we are continuing our journey about house sitting. In part one, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the online platforms that you can use to find house sits and how you set up your profile and get that all set up. Hope you guys have started on that because it takes a couple of weeks. Today, we're going to talk about how you search for a sit, what you're looking for once you find some, and how to apply and set up the interview. So I'm so glad that you're here today. Joining, please tell us in the chat where you're watching from. And if you have any questions, just throw them into the chat and I'll go through them during the course of our time together today. So thanks for joining. We're talking about house sitting, how to apply, search for, apply, and interview to land the best house sitting gigs so you can travel well for less. These house sits have saved me thousands of dollars for sure in my travels, and it's been a wonderful experience. So you ready to get going? So here we go. Hello, Beth, and hello, Teresa. So glad to see you. Okay, so I want to jump right into this and get you onto the Trusted House Sitter app. In part one, which you can watch on YouTube, and I put that into the chat, on YouTube Live, and there's a guide that you can also get, and I threw that into the chat as well, of part one, and it listed all of the sites that you can go to in order to look for house sits. The best one, honestly, is Trusted House Sitters. It is not as broad. It's mostly North American and Europe and UK, but it's the most robust online search that you can get. So I'm going to start with that one. And it's also the one that I get probably 90% of my sits from. So let me just share the screen. And we're actually going to go through the process of looking for a house sit. So let me just show you. Let me get out to here. So you have your dashboard. So this is showing where all my sits are and what I've done in my past sits and things like that. So you want to find a house sit up here. I think you guys can see this okay. It looks pretty clear on my end. Hopefully it's big enough that you can see it. Maybe let me make that a little bigger for you. Hold on. Bear with me one second. There. Better. Okay. So find a house sit right up here, right? You can see it. It's easy. Find a house sit. I'm going to pick, and then if you have someplace in particular you think you want to go, put it into the chat and we'll look there. It's really intuitive, you guys. Where would you like to go? I'm going to start in the US only because Trusted House Sitters has a lot of sits in the US. So that way I'll be able to show you what's going on. But look here, you can look by map. What is this in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? I don't know what that was. This one right here. Okay, where are we going? Hawaii? Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to go to Hawaii for 3 days? October 7th to the 20th? December, Christmas in Hawaii, anyone? In Mililani Town, Hawaii, Iwa Beach, Hawaii, and Hilo, Hawaii. So you'll see it shows you the date. It'll give you little pictures. Well, why don't we just pull one of these up? This is Christmas. Should we look here? So you can start with the map if you want. Just take the map of the world and decide where you want to go. And you'll see that it shows pictures of the house. So you kind of scroll through those. Relatively neat. Hot tub, shower, walk-in shower, it looks like. Okay, I'm going to go back. That's a lot of dog to take care of. 2, 4, 6. That's a lot of dogs, even little ones. Okay. Okay. They're adorable. I'm sure they're cute, but that's a lot. Okay. And it gives you a little introduction, home location, amenities, and responsibilities. So she's cooking eggs and rolled oats and wild blueberries in a bowl, canned salmon, and she has 4, 5, 6, 7 little dogs. That's a lot. Okay, so in my world, that would be a pass, even if it's over Christmas and in Hawaii, but maybe that's just me. So one way of searching, right, is to go to the house sit and just look at the map, right, and see what's there. I'm going to do it the way that I normally do it, which is I put in a city. So I'm going to stick in Chicago. Again, in chat, if you have someplace you want to go, let me know. And then look, it's very simple. You put in the dates. So again, maybe you want to go to Chicago in Christmas, maybe. Okay, maybe your friends there. And maybe you want to go anytime between the 16th and let's just say the 8th of January, random. And you have to hit apply, otherwise it won't work. And then you hit duration. Now, I've told many of you I do long sits, like minimum probably 2 weeks, but 3, 4 are preferred. But can you see this little hump here? I know it's hard to see, but right here. So the majority of their sits are falling between 3 days. Oh, that's actually not that bad. And a month. But see how it tapers off? The more narrow you make this, like if I say, oh no, I only want a week to a month, the fewer the sits you're going to find. So it really depends. And you can string together a bunch of short ones. You could take a long one and then get a hotel to add on to the time of wherever you want to go. And if you're only going for a weekend, just do the whole thing. It's just, that can be a lot of sits to look at. So why don't we just do a week to a month and see what comes up? And you hit apply. And then you can pick your pets. I talked about this in part 1. Horses, birds, livestock, poultry, small pets, fish, reptiles. No, I kind of stick with the dogs and the cats. But if you don't pick anything, you're going to get everything. Now, I would say in Chicago, you might get some horses, you might get some reptiles, probably fish, and maybe some small pets. But it's up to you. If you check nothing, everything will pop up. So I'm going to narrow it down because I've been doing this for a while and I don't want to look through 400 listings because I'm not interested. And then you can also go over to local attractions, like you want to be by the John Hancock building in Chicago, or you'd like to be by the beach in Chicago, although in December, probably not. And then there are more filters. This is sort of important. So do you need high-speed internet? Do you want a washer dryer? Do you want air conditioning? Not December in Chicago, but if you're elsewhere, you might want it. Maybe you want use of a car. That's a little tough. So if you click that filter, it's going to narrow very quickly the house sits you're going to find. But you decide I want a house or an apartment, right? I'm not all that particular, so I don't really use those. And then you basically it has now given us 7 house sits in Chicago that are accepting applications. So we've got December. So here's over Christmas in Chicago. All of these cover, so you've narrowed it down really quickly, right? So you are now covered for Christmas and New Year's in Chicago without having to pay for a hotel room during high peak season, even in winter in Chicago. So I'm going to look at this one, trendy Chicago apartment, one fun dog, okay? December to January, and she's got more than one date. That's what this little plus sign means. So let's see what comes up. Okay, look at this. So she is traveling. This girl is going places. So here's the one. I can't apply, you guys, because I'm already booked up, but that's why it says you're busy with another sit. So I start with photos. Does the place look neat and clean? And I'm going to tell you, we may find some where there is stuff everywhere. Laundry, cleaning products, everything everywhere. And I'm just like, no, I don't think I'd be comfortable. And even if she cleaned this up for this particular moment, I don't care because she made an attempt. And I feel like she would also continue to do that before her house sitter showed up. Cute little dog, medium-sized dog. Okay, so I always look at the pictures first. Then it tells that it matches, my past experience. So it talks about who they are. Lincoln Park neighborhood in Chicago. Let me tell you, I've spent like 30 years in Chicago. That is like a primo location in Chicago for Christmas and New Year's. You're sort of just in the burbs, but the buses and the trains go right there. It isn't an expensive Uber or taxi to get into the city or to the lake or wherever you might want to go. It's a really great neighborhood. So that's awesome. And she says they're going to go traveling to visit family in California because lots of people in Chicago like to leave when it's cold. And they're in Lincoln Park, which is a great little neighborhood. Bus lines, as I was just telling you. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, safe neighborhood, fully equipped kitchen, smart TVs, streaming, bathroom. So So 1 bedroom, and it's Chicago, it's a city, so it's not going to be huge. But it shows you all of the amenities that it has. Okay, so high speed, cooking basics. So no air conditioning. So this may not be someplace you want to be during the summer in Chicago. The bathroom, there's on-street parking. So if you're bringing a car, you can either find a garage nearby, you're going to park it on the street. And there's a washer and a dryer. So that's good because that's a long sit. You don't want to be going out in the snow to do your laundry. Okay, daily routine. You want 7 to 9, little potty trip, midday walk, real short one from 12 to 3, evening between 6 and 9, and then of course you can always do in betweens. Feeding in the morning and the evening shows you what the house rules are that she wants you to do. No plants or anything. I always tell people that I take pictures. She says, we ask you to send a picture and you take her out on a walk every day. And that's just setting their mind at ease. That is not a problem. So it tells you everything that you want to know. And for me, if I wanted to be in the snow in Chicago during Christmas and New Year's, I would totally apply for this job because this gig, because I think it's a good location. It's a great dog. It's a little corgi. It's an adorable little dog. And so that's all you need to know. And you just sort of go, okay, well, that looks pretty good. So one of the questions though, that I would have, because I tend to spend a lot of time out of the apartment. And so we can talk about this during the interview process, but this midday walk. So these guys may be working from home, so it doesn't matter. So if I get out in the morning and I don't get home before 2 o'clock, is that okay? Or 3, is that okay? 4. So, because you're traveling, right? Unless you're working from home and you're trying to enjoy the city. So the question is, I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. And if I go out in the morning and I want to meet a friend for lunch, then I've got to go back to Lincoln Park, walk the dog and come back, right? Or whatever. So it's just something to keep your eye on. And I sort of look for very low maintenance dogs, they're animals that have like a morning walk and an evening walk. And then I have the whole day to myself, either in the apartment or wherever I want to be. So that's one thing that is sort of what I call sort of a red flag, but I'd call this probably a rosé colored flag. It's not a bad one. It's something to have a discussion with to see what that means for you and the dog when they're gone. Okay. So let me just stop sharing for a minute and see if you guys have any questions before I go any further. Welcome everybody. So glad that you're here. Let me see. What is oh, so did you just not see any of that, Teresa? Oh, gosh. Oh, so Beth, so can someone tell me in the chat if you actually saw the screen or not? I'm sorry about that. Beth, so, I travel full time. And so house sitting for me is one of the ways that I'm able to travel well for less. I have a limited income. And so I want, so Beth, are you seeing? Okay. You didn't see Chicago. All right. Let me go back and do that. Let me just answer this question real quick. Describe long sits. So because I travel full time, this is a way that I'm able to stay away longer because I don't have hotel costs. And so the long sits allow me to settle in. I don't want to move around every weekend. I don't want to move around every week. So if I can find a place that I can stay for 3 or 4 weeks, I just settle in. And I've been in San Diego since June. And many of you know San Diego has now been named the most expensive city in the United States to live. Housing costs are off the roof. And I have literally enjoyed living in San Diego since June. And I did the math from part 1. Since June, I have only had 39 days. And actually, that's a lie. I added them all up because in November, I am going to be staying at a friend's home in San Diego who's leaving. So 23 of 39 days are at a friend's house by myself. And the rest of them were hotels or a resort that's here up in the valley that I love. So I really enjoyed living in San Diego and haven't had to pay a cent, or very little, to live in San Diego all summer. And it's been a glorious summer. So I enjoy the long ones. I unpack, I settle in, I take care of the dogs and the cats, and I really live in the community. So that's how I travel, Beth, and it just works for me. I'm going to go back and show you show you this again. Let me see if I can get back there. Hold on one second. Sorry. Share screen. There we go. Let me try this again. Okay. Can you guys see that now? Chicago? Can you see that now? Tell me you can, please. Somebody in the chat, let me know that you can see this before I go forward talking and you guys aren't seeing anything. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. We went through the photos. There's a little dog. Okay, so she's got nice photos. The place looks relatively clean. We'll do that again really quick, right? Things are put away. It's not a mess all over the place. So that's my first one. She is a husband and wife, tells you a little bit about where they are. They're in Lincoln Park, as I said, and they can't always bring Rudy the dog with them. So it tells you the home and location and all of the amenities that they have. Again, heating, no air conditioning. It's okay. For the winter, it's fine. And then here it is, morning trip, midday short walk, evening walk, and additional outings if you're going around the neighborhood and you just want to take Rudy with you. And they get fed, he gets fed twice a day. And then not allowed on the furniture. He's on the leash outside. If she pees in her bed, please hand wash the affected area and let it dry. Well, so that's interesting. So she's peeing out of excitement. So actually, I'm glad we went back to this, you guys, because that's a high, for me, that kind of puts it on high maintenance. I don't really want to be cleaning pee when I'm house sitting. So reading that, there's a challenge there. So one of the other things that we can look at here is, where are the reviews? So she's a new, it looks like she's a new host because there isn't anywhere here it would say sitter reviews. So there aren't any. There would be a block here that says sitter reviews. So she's a first time. By the time you get there in December, she will have had one more before. So that's another red flag to think about. So does that make sense in terms of what the details that you're looking for? You want to read it pretty closely. And actually the first time I didn't, as I was doing it with you guys. And so if I had applied, I'd probably have to take that up with her during the interview if she wanted to interview me, to ask what that was about. Is Rudy a puppy? Is there anything that they're doing to train the dog so that I can continue that training? Because the idea for 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's in Chicago in the winter, walking a dog in the snow and cleaning up pee in the apartment does not sound like a travel well for less kind of environment I want to be in. Does that make sense, you guys? Tell me if you agree. Maybe I'm just being too picky, but there are other opportunities. So let me go see if we can find another one that we can look at. Let's see. Share the screen. And let's go over to this one. So we're going to go back to Chicago. So I'm back where I started looking, right? So tell me you can see this. I think you guys can see this. Okay. And we're going to look at another one. Okay, Gurnee is way up here. So here's Chicago down here on the map, and here's Gurnee. I don't want to stay in Gurnee. I want these 4 in Chicago. Those are the ones that interest me. Evanston, it's a collar suburb of Chicago. It's okay. I like being in the city. Okay, so here is a cat and a dog, December 23rd to January 2nd. So let's see what this one is. I just want to walk you through a couple so that you can see it. Okay, I think you can see this, right? Okay. So Zoe is the parent. She's looking for just after Thanksgiving a little bit, and then Christmas through New Year's. Okay, photographs. So it's one of the older homes in Chicago with the brick fireplace. There's a kitty cat. Not too bad. Not too much clutter. Okay, it's probably one of the 6 flats in Chicago. Here's a dog. It's a medium-sized dog. Oh my gosh, one of those lovely pitties that's on your lap all the time. They have such a bad rap, pit dogs. Corgi-ish ears. Loves a car ride. Oh, look at the cat. Okay, so you look at the pictures. I look at the pictures first to see if the house is someplace I want to be. And then she's a social worker and professor. They've got a calico cat and an older pit mix. Leash reactive, so must be kept at a distance from other dogs. I got to tell you, as much as you may want to eliminate this from your house sitting repertoire, I found that like 75% of the dogs are leash reactive or aggressive, and you just cross the street. So if you're not comfortable with that, you shouldn't take the house sit. As I mentioned before, we rescued Sharpei, and they were always aggressive, so we always knew we had to cross the street. So that doesn't really faze me too much. 1 bedroom, Albany Park. Okay, so Albany Park is not really in Chicago. It's probably a good 20, 30-minute train ride into the city. So that, for me, might be a little farther away, especially in cold weather where you're waiting outside for the train to come by. Lets you know about movies. And it's a cute little neighborhood. They don't have a washer and dryer, but you can pay to do your laundry in the building. And it's 420 friendly, which means that there are people smoking dope in the building. It's amazing the things they tell you, right? Yes. And all the amenities that they're showing you. So you can take a look if there are things that again, no parking, which is very typical in Chicago. In fact, I don't take my car when I go to Chicago. So Pisces needs 3 to 4 walks a day. That's a lot. He gets fed twice. Brooklyn, you feed her twice a day and clean out the litter every 2 or 3 days. I scoop litter every day. And then maybe some plants. So here are the sitter reviews. Very nice apartment. So this is 4 out of 5 stars. She may get a bit nervous, complicated if you don't have any training experience. Okay, so that is telling you if you are not an experienced dog walker, you probably don't want to participate in this as a house sitter. Okay, cleanliness, 3 stars. I'm not there to clean an apartment, and I don't want to be in a dirty apartment. And this is 5 stars. So again, some sitters more comfortable than others. So there you go. Caring for Pisces in Brooklyn was a bit challenging. I wasn't aware of the severity of Pisces' reactivity until she attacked another dog on the 2nd day of my house sit. No one wants that. And you remember, we are not doing this to work from home, or maybe we are to work from away, but this is our vacation, or this is our time off. And so having the stress of an animal that may have issues that you are going to have to deal with, and I have been in this situation. I mean, I've managed it, but I would consider myself a very experienced dog carer and even cats. So reading these reviews are really important. And so you see the stars that she gave here. So you kind of go through that and then you decide, okay, I'm not applying to that one. Just because you looked at it doesn't mean you have to apply. Okay, so we're going to move on. Let's see what else is in Chicago. I think I've got this sharing down. Evanston, again, is up north. I really want to stay down here. Okay, so here's a vintage gray stone. This will take you through New Year's and Christmas as well, or Christmas and New Year's. Okay, there we go. 2 sweet girls. We've got a couple of dogs, 2 dogs. So the gray stones, in Chicago are sort of the older buildings, but some have been beautifully rehabbed, so you don't have to sort of worry about that. Okay, gourmet kitchen, and it looks really clean. That's nice. And a nice bathroom. I always wondered about this. Did you not think to close the toilet lid when you took the picture? Probably the guest room. Small interior, no window. That sort of stuff doesn't really bother me. Medium-sized dog. Washers and dryers. Okay. Looks neat. Looks well kept, right? It's not dirty with stuff all over the place. Loves to travel. Grew up on a horse farm. Farm life is great. Prefer the city. So she's in Ukrainian Village, which is a really great neighborhood just west of the city, but easy access into the city. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, near Ukrainian village, 2 bedrooms, pillow top mattresses, walk score of 95. Um, Traditional gray stone, beautiful architecture, fully gutted. So they've completely redone it, which is awesome. You've got access to all the streaming services, office space if you need it, and a small backyard and all the amenities. And then fairly easy, but do require walks. They need to be let out every 6 to 8 hours, which to me is normal. Like you get up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, you take them for a nice walk, and you come home by 4 to 6 in the evening, and you take them for another nice walk. And that allows you to have the day to go to the art museum and have lunch and, whatever you're going to do for the day. You can utilize the backyard in the early morning or late evening as long as you pick up after yourself or after the dogs. And you've got to stay with her 2 30-minute walks a day. That's not bad, except that it is winter in Chicago. So dress appropriately, get the boots, the gloves, and the hat. Okay. They have dry food. They're fed every 12 hours. There's pictures of Lucy and pictures of Kaya. So they're kind of middle-sized dogs. Nice reviews. Look at these are all 5 stars. So when it's sort of 5 stars, I don't worry about reading them. It's when they get down to 2 and 3 stars that I worry about. And the other thing, she's got a lot of reviews. So this is not just sort of a fly-by-night. She's been doing this for a while. Sweet dogs to sit for, great walkers, a well-behaved, calm dispositions. Jenny was a wonderful host, great instructions, awesome neighborhood, neat, clean, easy to care for. It was their first sit, and so they felt really lucky. I mean, this would be another wonderful one to take care of if you don't mind a couple dogs. They probably shed a bit, but the house is beautiful and it's in a great location. All right. So I think that gives you a little idea of searching. Yes. And you just change the location. So if I wanted to do exactly the same dates and the same time frame, all I have to do, I can go in here and show this to you. All you have to do is go back in here. Sorry, let me share the screen. Okay, so all you do is share this. You pull this up again, and you don't have to change all of your dates and your duration. You just put in. I'm just going to put in Paris. I don't think a lot of stuff is going to come up, but we can look. But yeah, we're waiting on house sits. So any place that you guys wanted to go? Did you put anything in here? Any particular places? I'm not seeing you giving me any ideas. So let me just see if I can, where else would you want to go? Los Angeles? Let's stick to the United States. So see how you've got the county, the city. I don't know what the difference is between Los Angeles, California City, and City of Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, Chile. So make sure you're not applying to Chile. And the region gets you a really broad swath of places. So Reseda, Lomita, Los Angeles, Studio City, and here's the map. So you get a general idea. So like these two are downtown Los Angeles. So these are the two that are in downtown Los Angeles. Again, through Christmas and New Year's. There. Oh, let's talk about cats for a second. So this is downtown Los Angeles. Some people may like that and some people will not. We'll see where it is. But cats are very easy. You feed them, you clean the litter, you can be gone all day, and it's all good. So this is and I've had some wonderful cat sits this summer as well. Look at this house is minimalist and clean. It's good. Look at washer and dryer. Nice big washer and dryer for a couple of weeks, right? Okay. Look at clean bathroom. Again, even if they just cleaned it for the photos, it's a good sign. Okay. Okay. So looking for one sitter only, no couples. Pets or partners, please. My husband and I are freelance filmmakers in Los Angeles, cinematographer. Take them with us, but it's not possible. We need responsible animal lovers. El Sereno, beautiful and quiet neighborhood in East Los Angeles, close to Highland Park, downtown Pasadena, Chinatown. So what I normally do would then go to the map and see where is El Sereno and maybe look up the neighborhood a little bit. Brand new house built in 2023. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. That's good. Very quiet residential neighborhood, great Mexican food, 5-10 minute drive to multiple stores, Albertsons, Target, Costco, and love our house and neighborhood. So amenities, dedicated workspace. So for me in LA, I am bringing a car. Do we have a free street parking? Okay, so if I was interested during an interview, I would have to ask them about that. How safe is the neighborhood? Can I leave my car on the street? And it isn't for me about the value of the car or it getting hurt because I have insurance, but I need that car to go to all these sits I'm going to. And if it was a rental, I would still need it. So if it got damaged in some way or it was stolen, the time it would take me, I don't have the time between sits to get a new car, to wait for it to get fixed or whatever it is. So that's my only thing. It's a car. I don't care. But in these particular instances, I need the car. So this whole parking thing is something that I keep an eye on, especially in cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles. It talks about their feeding. You get the little pill, dry food, cute little dogs, cats. Here we go. Nori. Look at that little gray one. And then sitter reviews, 5s, 5, 5, 5. So it seems like that would be a great one. And you're in Los Angeles for Christmas. If the neighborhood works out for you, you just scored Christmas and New Year's in LA. I would say you would rent a car. So you'd have to have the cost of the rental car to explore LA, north, south, east, and west, beaches, whatever. And if you're in the snow, you'd be away from the snow for free. You're not paying for a hotel in Los Angeles for almost 2 weeks. Okay, so I think you get my drift on why I think this is such a great idea, right? Awesome. Oh, Laguna Beach, Cheryl. Okay, let me see here real quick. I love Laguna Beach. That's another good one. Okay, I'm going to do the same dates. See what comes up. Oh, there we go. Lomita. So it's not really Laguna. It's kind of Irving, Newport, Costa Mesa. Temecula is a little farther over here. So this would be Temecula. This is Costa Mesa, Laguna Woods. Laguna Woods, it's one dog. Okay, oh, sorry. Let me share. I need to share. Sorry, forgot to share the screen, you guys. Sorry, let me get back to that. Share screen. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, now you can see that. Okay, so we have got photographs. Not bad. It's okay. Medium-sized dog. Right? Senior single, travel several times a year. Andy to be minimally stressed in my absence. Small unit, large park, stream in a gated community. All the amenities, walk and feed. No reviews. So this is a new host. It shows you where Laguna Woods is relative to Mission Viejo. So I don't know, someone better at me in geography. 30 minutes in LA traffic, depending, to get to the beach. So we all make compromises, right? So there's Laguna Beach. And I can put in Sydney. So that's interesting. We'll see. Let's just do this because I'm kind of curious now. Hold on a second. Let me share this again. Let me get back to the beginning. All right, let's try Sydney. I have found a few in Australia, and this is a popular time. You know, that's their Christmas and their school holidays. So November to November to February, March, they travel a lot. But I have found them more on trusted Aussie house sitters or Aussie house carers than I have here. This is not Sydney. And while they have a great public transportation system, Wamberal North, New South Wales, is not Sydney. Let me see if I can, if we can. So it really depends on whether you want to. It's got a pool. I want to see where the map is here. Let's look, it's loading. Okay, so Gosford. I'm trying to see where Sydney would be here. Newcastle, Wollongong. Oh, there's Sydney. That's not Sydney. Okay. So it depends on what you want to do. I mean, lots of senior nomads that I know and lots of folks stay way out in rural areas and either they rent cars or they rent a caravan while they're there. That for me would not be where I want to be for Christmas and New Year's. So we all make our decisions. And this is only for 5 days. So that's not working for me. Okay. So I think, did we do enough searching? I just want to know that you kind of got a general idea of what a search can look like and what you're looking for. So you want to make sure that you are looking at dates, obviously, the location, city, suburbs, rural. What are the pets like? Easy, low maintenance, high maintenance, and the duration of the sit. As I said, for me, I want to go as long as I can, as far as I can, and really settle in and enjoy. If you're just looking for a weekend, you'll probably find a whole lot more than I look for, but I just didn't want us to have 50 that we had to look at. So I was trying to narrow it down. So once you join the platforms, you can do your searching. You can't, I think you can search a little bit before you've joined, but you wouldn't be able to apply. And we talked about that in the first part one a couple weeks ago. So those are the things that I look at to see. So then you want to apply, right? So you want to apply. And it's a really simple process. It's all online. It's all confidential until you all have agreed to have an interview. And then you've got some people share with me a Zoom. Let me go through the application process first, and then I'll tell you. But while you're applying, it's all very safe. They don't have your email. They don't have your phone number. I've never really had an issue with a host stalking me. So please don't worry about it. There's a reason that there's sort of a process here to protect both the host and yourself until you decided you're going to work together. So once you've decided that you want to apply, let's see, can I find that one? I'm just going to pick the one in Chicago that we found. So, it's not going to let me apply. So wait, hold on a second. Let me go to one that I know I can hear. Okay. So this was, where was this one? Let me just see. Okay. This is the one in Australia. I'm just going to show it just so you know. I'm busy with another set. Sorry. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. I got to find one so I can just show you what the process is. I need to find something later. Hold on a second. Sorry. I had found one in January. Let me change these dates really quick to when I know I'm available, and then I can walk you through the process. Okay. Let me hit apply. And then go back to Chicago and see if anything comes up. Okay, there we go. Let me share this. Okay, so spacious home, Chicago. This is in January. Again, it's cold. So you hit apply now. You found it. You looked at everything that they had to tell you. You liked what the reviews were. You were fine with that. And you hit apply now. And it tells you, focus on why you'll be a great sitter, reference the pets by name. And I'm going to share that with you as well, and mention any relevant experience. So here is the application. It's basically like an email, an internal email in the platform. So you're just sending it. So I'm going to tell you what my little secret is here. I'm sorry. So you can see that now. Sorry, I think I wasn't sharing that. So this shows you hit apply and then your application to marry, right? Dates that you're applying, gives you some hints, and then says application, tells you the name of the dogs, cats, right? Cane Corso, Golden Doodle, all of that. So let me share with you my little secret on how I make this really, really easy. Share. Hold on one second. So I have created this document. I think you guys can see that, right? Yep. It's a cut and paste, you guys. And when I need to do something, I change the name of the dog from Whitney to whatever the names of the dogs are. I have Whitney here as well, and I'll change it to your furry family. And I let them know. The key to this is short and sweet. Now you're looking at Christmas and New Year's, right? So it's a really busy time of year. I think Trusted House Sitters only lets them get 5 to 8 applications and then cuts it off until they reject people, because otherwise it could get very overwhelming. So you're reading through 5 to 8 applications, and you're not just reading my email. You're going to my, you're going to my profile. You're reading my reviews from other house sits that I've done. It's a lot of work on the host side. I've been using this cut and paste for quite some time. I just did one today, and within 5 minutes, I had an email saying, inviting me to sit. I was like, thank you. I really appreciate that, but I don't accept a sit until I've had an interview or we've had a chance to talk. So we're talking later today. But all I can tell you guys is that this works, okay? And I just make sure I reference their name. So this is Jill, and I'll change that to the name of the person who's the host. And then I change Whitney to the names of the dogs. And sometimes I put the names of the dogs, or I'll put your furry friends. But I've been house sitting. I love taking walks or hanging out with furry people, semi-retired, and I know the right questions to ask. So they want to know, I've mentioned this in part 1, our age is a benefit because we are problem solvers. We'll figure stuff out. We know when to call them when it's really important. So and I send updates every day so that everything's fine. I don't want them calling me asking what's going on. I want to send them, no matter what time zone they're in, I will send them some photos and say, we're all good. Hope you're enjoying, that sort of thing. And I'm happy to schedule a Zoom or a FaceTime. And so that's where it goes from an anonymous email to here's my phone number, or they send me a Zoom link within the platform, the message platform, or they do a FaceTime, whatever they want. And thanks for considering me. And then I have created this spot here, and I'll show that to you in a minute, where people who are not on a platform can find out about my house sitting. So let me just stop this for a second and see if there's any questions that have come up here. So Cheryl says, send longer intro emails. I like to mention I'm a non-drinker, a non-smoker. So far it works for me. And Cheryl, it's a template that you use. You kind of cut and paste it. That's great. I just find shorter and sweeter just because they have a lot to read through between the profiles and the emails that they get. And I guess I say I'm semi-retired. So I kind of figure that covers a broad swath, but hey, whatever works. And Beth, I mentioned in part 1 about all of the house sits that they have, the house sitting platforms that are country specific. And those are listed in the guide. I stuck the guide. If you want to pick up the guide from part 1, I stuck that in the chat. So you can download the guide from part 1 or go listen to it on YouTube. And in that link in the description on the YouTube is also the link to the guide. And it lists all of the house sitting platforms, New Zealand, Australia, some in UK. There's house carers. Some are for pay, some are not. You sort of negotiate it, some for bid payment. So that's all in part 1. And it's at the top of the chat, you guys. So if you just scroll up in the chat, you'll have the link there and you can just go look it up. Any other questions before I move on? Okay. Okay, great. I think you guys are doing good. All right, so now you've applied and you get an email back. It's all on the platform. So I can show that to you again real quick. So you go back to, I'm just gonna go back to Trusted House Sitters. And go back. I'm gonna go back to my dashboard, which is where everything lives. So this is the sit that I just, I'm going to, right? These are, and look at, so book travel insurance, the welcome guide, all of that starts in 9 days. These are the ones that I have coming up. These are all the ones I've applied to. This is the one who called me today and said, yep, can you come over? Can you do the sit right away, completed sits, and then my sitter profile. And where is my inbox? There we go. And so this is where it all happens. So you sort of have their name, confirmations, invitation to talk, put my phone number in, stuff like that. So you just sort of, you have your internal mailbox, your internal inbox within the platform after you've applied. It sort of starts generating there. And then once we've agreed, we go off that because kind of going through that is kind of clunky. And so we either go to text message or email, whatever they like. And they shared a welcome guide and other things as well. So that's how you're sort of searching and then applying and then going back to the inbox on the platform in order to communicate with the hosts until you agree, and then they confirm and offer you the sit. But the interview, I want to talk to you about the interview for a minute, and I have nothing to show you here, so I'm just going to talk at you. There are red flags. We saw some of them in some of the sits I looked at, like a highly reactive dog, or needing to be home during the day, or 4 walks a day, things like that. I learned last summer that I should have asked about air conditioning. I either missed it or wasn't paying attention to it. I don't know what it was. Or I assumed everybody in California had it. It got up to 110 and this house had no air conditioning. It was bad. I mean, I made it and, powered through, right? So this summer, I asked everybody, and you have air conditioning? Well, I also learned this summer that I have to ask, do you have air conditioning in the bedroom? I don't know about y'all, but I found that I am a hot sleeper. And I do not sleep well when I'm sticky and hot. And you know what? I'm talking like 71, 72. I like it around 70 or 71. When it gets above that and I'm sleeping because I get hot, then I can't sleep. So I had a house sit this summer that had air. Yes, we have air conditioning, but didn't tell me there wasn't any in the bedroom. And the windows, I love sleeping with an open window. If it's got a nice breeze or even a fan, I'm very happy with that. The window was over the main road that went to the freeway. I did not sleep well at all. So these are things that you pick up during the interview. You read before you get on the interview with them. You talk about the dog and the behavior, the cat and the behavior. Cat questions. Are they nocturnal and running around the house all night? What time of the morning do they wake you up? Because cats don't care and they will wake you up. And are animals sleeping in the bed with you? It's not a good or bad question. It's something to be aware of. And if you don't want to be sleeping with an animal, then you shouldn't take that house in. But these are not things that necessarily come up in the interview. They may not have been written in the description. And so I have a list of questions that I sort of ask if they aren't covered during the interview, just to make sure we're clear and on the same page. So talking about animal behaviors, one person had a raw food that they fed their dogs. And in the reviews, the sitters had mentioned it and said, but it was very clear and all that. And it was. But if you don't like feeding raw food, then you should not have taken that sit, because that's what it was. And of course, you have to be really, really careful with hygiene, because it's raw meat, both keeping it in the fridge for the dog and making sure you wash your hands when you're done. So there are all of these nuances. And honestly, you guys, when I started out, I didn't know any of this either. So I'm just trying to inspire you to do this and sharing my experience so that you just have wonderful sits. And honestly, 90% of my sits are fabulous. And I love being where I am, and I love being in the house, and I love being able to go out to the park or walk along the water or go to some event or whatever it is. But these are all sort of nuances that I think over the course of time that you'll find yourself. Cheryl, you've done this before. So if you've got some tips, that you use to make sure nothing's going to be perfect, but you also don't want, like the sitter who said, I was not aware of how reactive this dog was. I mean, our Shar-Peis were very, very aggressive. One guy, Rocky, was very aggressive. He had a rough life and he was just very aggressive. We knew how to handle him. It was what it was, right? And I don't think we would ever leave him with a house sitter, to be honest with you. But you just have to, you don't want to find yourself, and especially in a long sit like I do, for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks in an uncomfortable situation and canceling a sit. When your host is in Europe enjoying a 4-week cruise up and down the Rhine, you really can't cancel it. You've got to find help. You've got to figure it out. Trusted House Sitters has a support team. I give them probably a 5 out of 10. But so the interview, your application, the communication you have can avoid getting into a bad situation, is all I'm saying. Okay? Because we have to take care of the animals. We can't leave the house and go, okay, I'm done. Because taking care of the animals is why we're there. So that's sort of my 2 cents and my warning in terms of why this interview process is important, and also how people manage themselves during that interview. And sometimes they take you on a tour of the house, which is great. You can ask for that, and they'll lift up their phone or their laptop and walk you around the house. And if that makes you feel more comfortable, go for it. If there were things that worried you about the photographs. So I'm not trying to warn you off about it, but I think that we're adults. We know we can figure out how to ask the right questions and have these conversations. And you, even though you've applied, you can always say thank you or no thank you. They may reject you, and that's okay too. You cannot take any of this personally, but you want to find yourself in a good situation because we're traveling. You know, this is a lifestyle thing for me, but you may be going on 2 weeks of vacation where you really want to relax from work and enjoy yourself. I'm just trying to set you up to find great sits so you can really enjoy yourself. Okay. Um, Teresa, what was the percentage of house sits without animals? Like 1%. I think I've had 2 sits that didn't have animals. And I told you on part 1, the one woman actually was putting down her elderly dog like the day before I arrived, so I just had the cat. But most of them are, yeah, most of them are animal based, and that's why they need you and want you. If you can get in with and I've been trying to do this with a house manager position, then that gives you usually a house that you have to manage. But that is another whole animal, another whole animal of caring for a house. Either you're doing the cleaning, you're doing the pool, or you're overseeing people, you're managing a house. So that's something else that I've sort of been exploring very, very lightly because I also want to go away for 6 months and not do that. So they tend to want somebody full time that's going to be around. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, let me share this Excel spreadsheet. So I keep all of my stuff when I first start out on an Excel spreadsheet so that I can keep track of what I've applied for and what's going on. So I think you can see this. Yes, please tell me that you can see this. I think that's shared. Okay. Yep. Okay. So the deal here is this was the beginning of the summer. I've simplified this because this normally has people's names and phone numbers or things that I need. Yellow is where I did not have a sit, and green are the ones that are all confirmed. So this is June in Palm Springs for 21 days, and only 39 of these are in yellow where I had to find someplace to live. And one of them is this 23 days that I'm staying with my friend at my friend's house in San Diego. So I don't know what's 23 from 39, 16 days that I had to cover. And this only happened because the other sit that I had in Palm Springs that went from November 2nd until the 25th of November canceled. And I've been trying to find something, but it's just nothing's coming up. So my friends are actually leaving and they said, just come take our place in San Diego. And I was like, okay, fine. So this is sort of how I keep track. So this is from June until January. This one we're still talking about. She posted it, but wasn't ready to discuss March yet. And I don't know that I am either. But this went from June until January. Okay. I don't know how many sits that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sits during that period of time because they're longer sits. And I only took short ones in between because I wanted to. But the bottom, these are all the rejects. So when you apply, you need to apply to more than one sit for the same date spread. You can't apply for December 16th to January 2nd and wait for that host to decide they want to interview you, and then you do the interview and then they reject you. You find all of the ones that you may be willing to say yes to between December 16th and January 3rd, and you apply to all of them. Signed at the same time. And this is what I did These are all of them starting in February in order to nail down my summer in Southern California, summer and fall. You know that saying, it takes 10 calls to get one sale? That's exactly what this is. You cannot do one, 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 one. You have to apply for them all at one time and then manage it somehow, track it somehow, right? So that you know where you've applied, who you've talked to, who you haven't talked to, when your call is, when your interview is, when are they making a decision. And sometimes if something works out, I just say yes immediately, and we'll say yes on the phone if it seems like it's a good fit. And I'll just immediately decline. I'll go back to the house sitting platform and just hit decline. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to look at my application. I've accepted another one. I'm sure you'll find somebody great, and maybe in the future we can work together. Okay. But you're not going to get what you want doing it one at a time. So it's a numbers game. Okay. So Cheryl saying, do you get homers? Yes, I am already booking for 25. So 3 people this summer already want me booked for 25, and the other 2 or 3 asked me to come back. Last summer, I had some breaks, and a couple of folks were planning things and I wasn't available. So then they said, okay, but when are you available? Because they just wanted to run up to Lake Tahoe. They wanted to take like 5-6 days, go up to Lake Tahoe. So I started giving them my dates, and they said, yeah, just come on up. So you get into these relationships. And honestly, from last summer, I'm probably still in touch with everyone, with 50% of the people I talk with. We're on Facebook together, we're texting, we're sharing memes, we're talking about animals and stuff, and they're following me in my journeys. So yes, Cheryl, I find that I'm getting referrals all the time. And then they want to know when I'm available, because they're retired too, and sometimes for the short trips. Or like these folks are planning these big trips. If I look at this Excel spreadsheet, I started at 2025. So April, June, and October, people have already asked me if I would be available. And I told them, I said, I'm not sure yet, but let's talk about it. And going back to a home that and an animal that and that you're comfortable in, it's like the best. It's the easiest thing in the world. So yes, I do hear from folks on a regular basis to come back. So we covered how to search, how to apply, and what to cover during an interview. Next time on the part 3, why preparing for a house sit is important. And I'm going to go over my tips and tricks about gaining trust with your host before you even get there, and when you arrive, and while you're there, and after you leave, or just before you leave. So that will be part 3 on the 27th of this month, October, at 4:00, YouTube Live again. And you can always look on YouTube. They're all posted on YouTube, so you can kind of tootle around there. There are a couple things that you can look at. One is the YouTube channel. So that's got all of these lives are all set up here, so that you can put the notifications on, so it'll just notify you that it's scheduled. Or the other one that you can do is, I also put that in the I'm sorry, I wanted to show you this as well. Hold on, sorry, one more. Hold on. This one. Okay, so here's one. So this is how you get the house sitting guide. That's in the chat. So you can sign up and get it. So this is join the mailing list and email list, and then you'll get that. And the other one is, did I lose that? No. So here's this one. So this is also the page that you have access to in that link that I gave you at the top. So this is the whole course. There's part 1, part 2. So if you go to part 1, sorry, here we go. part one. So the video from part one is there, the guide is there, the rest of the course you can view, a little bit of information. And so this has part one there, part two, part three, and part four. So the whole course and I'll keep populating it with the video and with the guide, after each session ends. Oh, sorry, I need to share that. I have quite a few tabs here, you guys. So there you go. There we go. Let me share that. So this is the course guide, part 1, 2, and 3, right there. Okay. And I wanted to show you, the other one I wanted to show you was my, do any of you have websites? So I set this up when people started to contact me and they didn't want to put their home and stuff on a public website, a relatively public website of a house sitting site. And so I created this on my website in order to show them my experience. And so that's what I include at the bottom of my application is this link to these house sits that I've had, and I'm going to be adding on more as we go. And it shows what their review of me was, who the dog or the animal was, that sort of thing, and when I did it, so that they know that these are relatively recent. Like this isn't something from 5 years ago. And people have really liked it. And it also has my profile to Trusted House Sitters here. It has the link to Trusted House Sitters if they want to join, and they can contact me directly. So that's another thing. If you have a website or you want to set up a wiki page, you could do that if you want to sort of go off book, and offline from the platforms and try and do this on your own. I think now maybe that may be all I have. Any other questions, you guys? Because that's what I'm going to cover, and I look forward to seeing you on the 27th. Please tell your friends and family. And this video will go up live on YouTube. I am going to do some editing since that first section without the sharing wasn't going well. We'll edit that out. And please feel free to email me or contact me via my website or Facebook if you have any specific questions. And I hope you're enjoying it. And I'd love your feedback. This is the first course I put together. If you have not joined the email list, please do, because it's really a way to get more inside information on what I'm doing and where it is and all of that sort of stuff. So it's a great way to stay in touch beyond the socials. Other than that, I think that's all I have to share for you. Unless you have any questions that I'm absolutely delighted to answer. I'm just delighted that you came today and joined me in this journey. And I'm hoping that I'm offering some information of value that will help you travel well for less. And just make sure you sign up for the email list. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a wonderful afternoon and a great week ahead. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. And if not, online before then. Bye. Oh, Joanne, thanks so much. I'm glad you're watching from work. And you can watch it anytime. It'll be posted live short. It'll be posted. The recording will be posted shortly. So thanks for coming over. Appreciate it.